locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Rasslin.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
The champ is here!
That's right. I'm the champ. I'm here. Thank you for the introduction. Finally, you did something good for me.
No, that's what John Cena says about himself, not about you, pal.
Well, you don't know who he's talking about. It's never been verified.
You don't even know John Cena.
I know. Don't worry about it. I know John Cena.
Yeah.
You don't know John Cena.
Yeah.
You don't know him like I know him.
Yeah. You don't know. Bo knows. your name is not Bo.
Do you remember, what was the name of the cartoon with Bo Jackson, Wayne Gretzky, and Michael Jordan?
Oh, my God.
All-Stars? I mean,
it was like All-Stars.
And they had, like, gadgets that were, like...
They were superheroes.
They were superheroes, but they were like Batman, where they had gadgets like Michael Jordan's basketball would open up and turn into a helicopter or something.
Yes.
Boy, I always assumed that Bo Jackson, growing up, he would have been like a bigger name. The guy kind of just evaporated from public culture. There was such a huge build. Like, the guy had such a brand around him before that was a thing.
Sure.
Baseball player, football player.
Football player. Yeah.
It was like, right. But then it's sort of like you don't hear the name.
Well, he sells stuff on infomercials and things like that.
Oh, yeah,
he's pretty successful.
He's doing like exercise machines.
Yeah, food things.
But the guy had a cartoon.
I know.
Well, I mean, Wayne Gretzky was in the cartoon, which is amazing. And I wonder, I don't think it was their actual voices. Do you? I'm going to look that up. I don't know if it was. Because I can't see that Michael Jordan was voicing a cartoon at that point.
Yeah,
the guy had too much money.
Yeah.
Too much money.
You know, that was on the heels of WWF's Rockin' Wrestling, which was their own wrestling cartoon.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it was on regular TV.
Wow.
Which is amazing. You know? Same concept. The wrestlers were the superheroes. Yeah.
Well, you know, that actually translates a lot more easily than thinking, are these pro athletes or superheroes?
True.
Yeah, Pro Stars was the name of the show.
Yep. We were close.
They were crime fighters. So it was only in 1 year, 1991.
And we still remember that.
Yep. And the voices of not any of the guys. It wasn't any of the actual athletes.
Well, I don't think Michael Jordan had time. He was too busy.
No, and Gretzky probably wasn't interested in doing it.
He was too busy stealing Peter Vessey's idea for his sneaker. Yeah. You know, Peter Vessey's having a field day with Charles Barkley.
Oh, my God.
Just
every day. These guys, between Shaq not thinking that the world is round and Barkley being completely out of his mind, someone should give Vesey a show that's just a reaction, like Mystery Science Theater.
Can you imagine that?
Mystery Science Theater, they just have him sitting in front of the screen commenting on these guys.
Yes,
that would be
hilarious. Because you know Vesey just has material upon material. That guy's ready for them. Yeah. You know. Well, welcome back to Duke Loves Rasslin. I am the Duke, and yes, I do enjoy doing pro wrestling impersonations and even talking about cartoons of the past.
Pro
I'm
stars.
Keep on doing it no matter what my illustrious co-host, the Boston bad boy, Iron Mike Pelosi, says.
Well, you know, I'm always going to hold you to task, but I think I did appreciate your intro today.
Yeah.
Because it was about me.
Look at that.
It's always about me.
It really wasn't about you, but first time for everything. There is a pro wrestling supercard. It's happening in Texas this upcoming Saturday, folks, all right? Now, who's going to be on it and what's it all about? Well, we're going to find out from Rudy Boy Gonzalez of Texas Wrestling Entertainment. He's going to give us a scoop. All that plus the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling, a.k.a. Run the Ropes, plus more of your listener-submitted questions. But before we get to any of that, Boston bad boy.
Yeah.
What is going on with the only sport in the history of sports that you actually give a damn about?
Oh, the America's Cup.
The America's Cup, which is some kind of
it's a yacht race.
Yeah, what is this?
So the America's Cup, for the uninformed, which if the people are fans of you, they're probably uninformed.
Watch it.
The America's Cup is the oldest trophy in sports.
Okay.
1853, I think, was first awarded. Britain challenged the United States to a yacht race.
Huh.
Okay? Just because these rich guys,
that sounds so exciting.
Back then, it was very slow. You know, they'd be racing at 3 or 4 miles an hour. America, the yacht was named America. It was an American yacht. Won the cup and defended it for like almost 100 years.
Wow.
And then Australia won it in 1983, actually. So from 1851, it was more than 100 years, right? 1851 to 1983, the Australians won it. And since then, the Swiss have won it. The landlocked nation of Switzerland has won it. New Zealand has won it. Most recently, the Americans came back in the biggest comeback in sports history, down 8 races to 0. They won 9 straight and beat the New Zealand team.
Impressive.
In 2013. So they defended the cup in 20. They hold it every few years because it's a big money operation. It's like Formula One. Cutting edge. Now, boats used to be racing at 5, 10 miles an hour. 10 miles an hour, maybe. These new boats are doing almost 50 miles an hour.
Wow.
High-speed foiling catamarans.
That's crazy.
Now, the thing is, when you're on the cutting edge of technology, things get a little dicey out there.
Well, I saw a little clip of, what was it, New Zealand.
Yep. Emirates Team New Zealand.
Before the race even started,
Yep.
their boat capsized.
Yeah, so at one of the starts, so when you're match racing, when it's just 2 boats head-to-head,
Yeah.
there's a lot of these tactics that go on before the start. You're trying to use the rules. There's very specified rules of racing. And you're trying to use the rules to kind of come up under some guy and nudge him, make him go away he doesn't want to go. And so while they're turning to gear up to get the speed going, New Zealand comes a little bit high on their hydrofoil and just digs in and flips the boat over.
Oh, my goodness.
Flips the boat over.
Wow.
Now, that hasn't happened in this series. In 2013, there was a big accident in training that actually killed one of the team members for, I believe it was Sweden. And so they flipped the boat over. It's very dangerous because it's essentially crashing into the ocean at 30, 40 miles an hour. And you get thrown, and the carbon fibers are incredibly sharp. So New Zealand tips the boat over. Comes out of nowhere because these guys are fast. The Kiwis are some of the best sailors in the world.
Kiwis?
The Kiwis. That's the nickname for New Zealanders.
Huh.
And they're
fruits.
Exactly. Well, the kiwi bird.
Yeah, of course.
There you go. So most of the teams are made up of New Zealanders, actually, because they are such Olympic-level athletes in sailing. It's just like the national sport down there. It's besides rugby, that's it. And they have such prestige when they've done successful challenges to the America's Cup. It's this whole thing. So they pitch-poled the boat. They dug the front of the boat in and flipped it over, like somersaulted it.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. They had to retire for the day.
So if experts like that can't seem to get this right, then I have no chance. So, folks,
no, you have no chance.
I am officially withdrawing any kind of...
I have to say, though, that even though guys like us have no chance, we'd kill ourselves on these things.
Of course.
The fact that these guys out of nowhere pull off such a rookie maneuver. I mean, the weather was a bit rough.
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't rookie. They're fighting to hold control. But I can't see how that happened. Something wasn't quite right with it.
Whoa. I understand that you have some kind of understanding of this sport, but
let me tell you this.
It looked on the up and up to me.
The America's Cup is always full of intrigue. One side is always charging that the other side is cheating and bending the rules.
Sure.
And it's actually one of the only sports that the person who is defending the cup is allowed to change the rules in any way that would benefit them beforehand. So this is what these are.
That's why you like it.
This
so
is
you
the
can make up your own rules.
It's the sport of kings.
Sure.
You're a duke. I'm a king, and this is the sport of kings.
You hear
this is why I'm into this guy.
Do you hear this guy?
But I'm thinking to myself, who has such tentacles that they could infiltrate even this sport so far removed from what their day-to-day life is? And I'm thinking, who would interfere?
Who? Because you sound like you have some kind of inside track, some inside knowledge on this.
I don't know.
Here.
I mean, here's the thing: there's a lot of people have access to those where the shops where they put in the boats together. Who could finagle their way in there?
Well,
Who?
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch! What? It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Son of a bitch!
Come on,
son of a bitch!
You got to.
Let me tell you something. If it turns out in retrospect that they find that something strange happened on that New Zealand boat,
say it.
I'm telling you, Vince McMahon's at the bottom of it.
He's at the bottom of it. I told you not to say it.
He's at the bottom of it.
I knew you were going to say something ridiculous like that.
More importantly, I'd have to thank him in a way because they end up Team New Zealand is the biggest rival to Oracle Team USA. We want to defend that cup. The Americans hold it. We want to see him fail. I'm not for dirty tricks like Vince is. But I'll take the win.
You can't even make up your mind. You don't know what side of the block you're on. 1 minute you're blaming the guy, next minute you're patting him on the back. Which way are you going here?
Well, I'm just going to tell you that I'll take his help. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Let me put it to you that way. So if he's in there and he's working with Larry Ellison, another big money guy who's sponsoring the American team. I could see those two guys wheeling and dealing there. And Vince, no one knows what he looks like in the sailing world. He could have walked in there and did a little and had
no
something
one
going.
knows who Vince McMahon looks like.
Not in the yachting world, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. One of the richest people around. Give me a break.
The richest. Listen, he may be rich. He doesn't have Oracle money.
It's time to run the ropes. I give my opinion on the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling. Let's go. Lillian Garcia makes a special return. Yes, folks, as seen on the Duke Loves Rasslin Facebook page today and covered by Wrestling Babble. Shout out to my buddies, my mates out there. Former WWE ring announcer Lillian Garcia. She traveled to England with the NXT crew and gave an emotional rendition of God Save the Queen. Now, this happened before the live event began. As you folks know, there have been multiple acts of terrorism over there in the UK, and we want to give a special shout out to our listeners and our friends out there. We're with you, you know, and it was a classy move by Lillian and classy move by the WWE to have her sing the national anthem out there. That was fantastic. So once again, we're with you out there, everyone over there in the UK.
I always thought it was really cool. I remember after 9/11 when they raised the American flag over Buckingham Palace and the Queen's band, they played the national anthem.
Absolutely.
When we had there is that special relationship, and what's happened over there, I have friends over there. I consider family.
You were just
there,
over there,
and I was just there in London, and I was just at the Borough Market. We spent the day there. It's a fabulous, incredible place, and just it's hard. It's hard, but the one thing I love about the Brits, they do not ever let it get to them.
That's right.
They are stiff upper lip. It's a funny joke, but these people were bombed by the Nazis. There's been terror attacks. It's the 7/7 subway attacks. You cannot give in.
They're still standing.
They are the ultimate. You cannot give in. I mean, you know, during the Revolutionary War, we might have gotten a little up on them.
Sure,
but they are. I like the cut of their jib, to make another sailing reference here. They're some of the best people in the world. So, great move by the WWE. Classy. That's what it's about.
Cheers.
Have a little class. It doesn't always have to be something bombastic. It's about having class.
Impact Wrestling paying fans. Listen, if you guys are paying fans, then you sign me up, okay? But this is the report coming from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer. According to Meltzer, fans in the crowd over in India, they were paid between 250 and 400 rupees to fill a 500-seat arena for Impact tapings. Now, look, I don't know what's going on with Impact. I mean, why would you pay fans to watch your wrestling product?
What does that translate into?
Translates into nonsense.
I'm going to look that up right now.
As far, are you talking about American dollars?
Yeah, like how many rupees to an American dollar?
I think
how many rupees did you say?
That's less than $10.
How many rupees did you say?
Between 250 and 400.
Let's just say 400.
It's like $7.50, $7.
$6.23. Can I just tell you something? That's more than I get paid to deal with you. I would take that money to put my ass in that seat any day of the week than do this for what I'm getting here. I'm not even getting a delicious sandwich.
What is wrong with this guy, folks?
Yeah, I ask myself that all the time.
Women's Money in the Bank match. That's right. As seen on Smackdown Live and covered on the Duke Loves Rasslin Facebook page, Shane McMahon announced that there will be an official Women's Money in the Bank match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Now, the participants are as follows: Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Natty, and Tamina. Now, bear in mind, Lana is lobbying for a spot in this match, folks, but, you know, it's unclear if she's going to be in the mix. I really don't think that would even be appropriate because, you know, she's still learning how to wrestle. But anyway, the winner of the match is going to get a chance to challenge Naomi for her SmackDown Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens here. It's going to be something interesting because, you know, it's a ladder match. So expect high spots and all kinds of things going on there.
Do you think that I just get this feeling you don't really like her that much?
Who?
Lana.
I think she's a great person, and you know.
Yeah, we're going to explore some more.
John Cena set to return. Yes, folks, as announced on SmackDown Live, John Cena, he'll be making his return on SmackDown. Get this, July 4th.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
America.
Yeah. Now this is amazing considering that, you know, Cena's one match away from beating Ric Flair's record for the most world title reigns. And what's even more interesting is, as you know, the WWE champion on SmackDown is Jinder Mahal,
Correct.
whose current gimmick is, he's bashing stupid Americans.
So why not do a 4th of July event?
A 4th of July event, and they're putting this on regular TV, the return of John Cena.
Yeah.
You think they're going to give him a title shot against Jinder? What do you think? Does it write itself?
Well, listen, it's horribly written, as we talked about last week, and let's sow some more seeds of discontent between and fear-mongering of others who may have darker skin and perhaps wear headdress, and who might be of a different religion.
Now, hold on.
So thanks, Vince McMahon.
What
Instead
happens-
of a holiday like 4th of July, which is supposed to be about let's go to see the nice parade, we're going to wave the nice flag, you know what? America's pretty good. There's a lot of problems here. We got a lot of messed up stuff. But you know what? We try and do our best. The everyday person tries to do their best. And I always think that. I don't care who I disagree with. I think they try to do their best. I think they're trying to do what they think is best. And I think they also believe in those ideals that we hold ourselves to.
Sure.
And here comes Vince McMahon. Here comes Papa Vince. He's going to sprinkle the seeds of discontent.
Stop it.
Because he has nothing else to do.
Stop it right now, okay?
I'm not going to stop it because I think it's ridiculous, and I'm always going to think it's ridiculous.
The number one story in the world of professional wrestling is Samoa Joe is the number one contender for the Universal Championship. That's right.
Yawn.
As seen at Extreme Rules, Samoa Joe, he choked out Finn Balor to become the number one contender. Now, to top it off, the next night on Raw, he choked out Paul Heyman and told him to send this message to Brock Lesnar. Now, folks, this is as real as pro wrestling is going to get right here. You got two rough and tumble guys like Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar, and they're on a collision course to battle each other. This isn't going to be rest holds and drop kicks here. This is going to be beat the hell out of each other kind of deal. Will there be blood? Is Brock Lesnar going to bleed? Because Samoa Joe's a tough dude. You'll have to stay tuned to find out. You've heard what I think. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm a jerk? Maybe something in between? Head over to Facebook. Head over to Twitter. Type in Duke Loves Rasslin and let me know. Why do you always say yup?
Because I
don't like that.
You ask and I'm answering. There's no one else here to answer but me, and I'm going to give you my answer.
The fans have a problem with you. They don't have a problem with me.
The
just
fans
so you
love
know.
me. I saw a picture of a young fan, the child of one of our fans, listening to it on the phone in the backseat of the car. And what were they? I saw it. I zoomed in. They were listening to the show. They were listening to my part of the show.
Give me a break.
When I was talking. That's what they were listening to.
Shout out to Quentin.
Here I am, shaping the young minds of the future of this country. And I'm just so proud to be in a position because I'm not going to abuse my power, and I'm going to use my powers for good, like I always do.
You're a mess.
To keep someone like you in
Baby
check.
Quentin and all the young people out there. I know Ariel's kid listens to us as well. The kids love the Duke's voice. I don't know how they feel about you, but they love the Duke's voice.
I will say your voice is like warm milk. It is very, sort of putting you to sleep a little bit.
My goodness. Up next, we have El Presidente of Texas Wrestling Entertainment, Rudy Boy Gonzalez.
Hi, this is James Beard. I'm the Director of Operations for the National Wrestling Alliance, and you're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
Welcome back to the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast, Mr. Rudy Boy Gonzalez. How are you, Rudy?
I'm doing good, and that's El Presidente, by the way.
Listen to this guy, El Presidente. You really have taken that gimmick to a new level here because I'm hearing a lot of rumblings coming out of Texas Wrestling Entertainment where, some of the talent are not happy with these decisions that you're making.
Well, I mean, I'm the guy in charge. I'm the man with a plan. I'm the face of the place. I'm copying another guy's tagline.
Gimmick infringement. That's what we call that. Yeah.
But I mean, that's just how it goes. If you don't like it, then there's a highway, and my feelings won't be hurt. I'm all about entertainment and making fans happy and giving them a program, an event that they want to go home and talk about. And, that's just how it is.
Next, he's going to be dressing in three-piece Vince McMahon suits and, jumping in and taking the heel turn all the time.
You already know it's coming,
Well, I'm starting already by using the word pal a lot.
That's right. That's a Vinceism right there. Pronouns, pal.
It's a slippery slope, Rudy.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's going on with this card on Saturday, June 10th? Okay, we been hearing a lot about it. The fans have been buzzing. You have some serious matches lined up.
Yeah, well, let me give you a little history real quick. Del Rio, Texas has always been a good town for wrestling. It's right on the border, so you draw from the other side of the border. Thank God there's no wall yet. And then Del Rio is a small little, and I'm not saying it's in a bad way. It's a small, lazy, easygoing town. Everybody there knows each other. They have the Laughlin Air Force Base there. So we've always gone down there, not every 3 to 4 months, and we draw a little crowd. We have people there, believe it or not, that are just like family. I mean, I've been going there since I was since 83, 82.
Wow.
With Southwest Wrestling, and there are people that are there that say, "Man, I remember when you put the ring up over here. I remember your first match here. I remember this. I remember that." And then there was a space, there's a gap there where we didn't go do wrestling all over there at all. And then when Shawn Michaels ran his promotion, that was one of the towns that we hit. His dad for a while was stationed, or he had some friends at the Air Force Base there. So we went out there, and let me tell you right now also, we draw very good crowds over here. I mean, the fans are just so passionate, and you don't hear the claps. This is wrestling, or this is awesome. Those are wrestling fans, and there's storylines that we run out there. There's good guy, bad guy type of stuff. We had a show one time. This was during the Sean, this was during HBK's era. We had a show one time where we had we had Hardcore Holly. We had Lita, we had D'Lo Brown,
wow,
S.A. Rios. It was a stacked show. And on the way out to the building, the ring guy wrecked. And nobody got killed, nobody got hurt. There was a ring guy / announcer and the referee. And the vehicle they were driving flipped 5 times.
Jeez.
And the trailer was a mess. We secured the ring so well in the trailer that it didn't fly out or anything, but the trailer was a mess. The vehicle they drove, it was a van actually. It was just crushed. But luckily there was a guy who was a tow truck driver who was driving in. He was getting off work early so he can get dressed up, get his family together, go eat, and they're going to make a day out of going to see wrestling. So he drives by to see this wreck. The students were there because they were helping with the ring. They were there trying to figure out what to do, and the tow truck guy pulls over and he says, "Hey, is that the wrestling ring?" And they're like, "Yeah, we just had a wreck, and DPS is the cops are there and everything." So the tow truck guy loaded the ring up on his truck. He had one of those flatbed tow trucks. Loaded the ring up on the truck with the trailer, and then pulled the van, the vehicle, pulled the van into the Civic Center there in Del Rio. The students put the ring up. Like I said, there's nothing really wrong with it. The sound system was still in good shape because that was in the van. But like I said, the trailer was trashed. So, I get there and we're trying to figure out what to do because we got the ring there, but how are we going to get the ring back to San Antonio? But at the time, the ring was the same ring that we used for training. So during intermission, we made an announcement. Hey, we had an accident on the way up here. Our vehicle is totaled. It's a loss, but we need to get the trailer. We need to get the ring back. We need to get the trailer fixed. If there's anyone here that knows welding, is there anyone here that can, this is, we're talking about Saturday evening, not, 8 o'clock at night and stuff.
Wow.
So a guy came up, he goes, "Hey man, I have a welding shop down the road. I'll go get my equipment. I'll come over here." And, he looked at the trailer, the tongue needed to be replaced and stuff. He fixed it. Another guy had come up during intermission. "Hey, I got the tire shop down the road. What kind of tires you got? What size are they?" He went and looked at them. During intermission, or after the show, he took off, went opened up his shop, got 4 tires, brought them back, and the trailer was back on the road the next morning. And no one asked for, it's going to cost you this much or it's going to cost you that. And that's just how, that town's always been. There was a show that I did that the ropes somehow, we didn't have ropes for the ring. The parts of the ropes were missing. And it was when I was renting a ring for somebody. Parts of the ropes were missing, so we actually had the ring with no ropes.
Are you kidding me? What is this, UFC?
It was
Jeez.
RBG, sir.
Yeah, RBG.
RBG Wrestling. And all the guys in the back were like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do? We got to cancel the show." And I've done shows like that back in the day. I did several shows like that. Where the ropes broke or something wasn't right, and so you have to improvise. You can't cancel a show. So it just so happened I had Chase Stevens on that show, and Chase walked in the dressing room, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, I don't know what Rudy's gonna tell you, man, but we have no ropes, so we might have to cancel the show." And Chase Stevens said, "F that. Now we got to work," and that was it. And
shout out to Chase Stevens.
We had one of our best events out there ever. We've had guys like Hot Stuff Hernandez, who's now Hernandez on he was on Lucha Underground and TNA. We've had Conan out there. We've had Manny Fernandez, Chavo Guerrero. We've had Heidenreich out there. Del Rio is just a special city for us. We've had Samoa Joe out there twice.
Wow.
Yes, so Del Rio is just a special town for us. The crowd, the fans are always very, very, they receive us very well. Even it's gotten to the point where I send guys out to pass out flyers, and the fans are like, "Oh, wrestling, hey, give me a stack, I'll help pass them out," stuff like that.
That is really like a family atmosphere. So what are you serving up to the fans this Saturday then? Because you got me all hyped up now with that story.
So I can't just send just a regular card out to that town. That town's always been good to us. So for Saturday night, June 10th, at the Paul Talk Theater, one of the feature matches is gonna be Micah Madrid, who's the Texas Ladies Champion. Your friend Duke.
Listen,
her belt will not be on the line. Instead, this is going to be a special challenge match. She will be going up against Desperado in a special match where if Desperado loses, he's got to wear a dress. And that it can be like, oh, well, that's cool, that's no big deal. But if Micah loses, she gets her head shaved.
Let me tell you something right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you something right now, okay? That punk, Micah Madrid, she's been a thorn in my side for far too long. Desperado, you're my guy. Okay? We don't want to see you in a dress. Your legs are not that great anyway. We need you to not only shave the head of Texas women's champion Micah Madrid, but bring me the hair. Okay?
Bring the hair.
I'm going to bag it up.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to put it on the trophy case, and that's what I'm going to do.
You better not bring that hair anywhere near me. I don't want that near me.
We're going to have a ticker tape parade through the streets of Boston. Because I have Micah Madrid's hair, because Desperado is going to shave that head and bring it to the Duke.
Let me tell you guys, and Desperado's not messing around. He's come to train at the TWA every day since we've issued that challenge, and Mike has accepted.
That's right.
He is taking this dead serious.
Well, she's been shooting her mouth off about him online, and it's really been, I'm going to tell you something right now. It's been really disrespectful what Micah Madrid has been saying about Desperado, talking about how she's going to win the match and he's going to be in a dress. It's unacceptable the way that she's taking him lightly. I got a funny feeling that this is going to be the start of something interesting, okay? We're going to have to call her Milk Dud Head when this is all said and done.
I already looked into some gear makers like Jack Lord over in Alabama about making some gear for Micah that has Sinead on the back.
Uh-oh.
Like Sinead O'Connor.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Nothing compares.
It might be a little bit of a dated reference, but I'm okay with
Nothing compares to that. See? What else do you have on the card?
Tag team title match. The Texas Renegades were the champions against the Nightmares of Pain. Two big boys are both together. They're about 800 pounds, legit.
Nightmares of Pain. Listen, there's a lot of buzz going on. I understand that the champs are the champs, but the Nightmares of Pain have seriously been creating some kind of buzz on the indie scene lately.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of them went to California this past week to do some extra training with Jesse Hernandez, well-known wrestling trainer over in California.
Absolutely.
So again, these guys, they're not taking any of this stuff lightly. Rudy Russo defends his Texas title against Vince Vile. Vince has been out of the scene for a couple of months, actually about a year and a half or so. But from what I understand, he's back with a vengeance, and he's looking to take that belt off of Russo.
Well, I'll tell you something. Rudy Russo has driven a lot of guys out of the territory because they just can't keep up with him. I know the man formerly known as Moonshine Man, Mr. Maverick, he had to leave. Not only did he leave Texas Wrestling Entertainment, but he skipped the region. I mean, he had to go all the way up to the Midwest somewhere just to get away because Rudy Russo was just too much for the Maverick to handle. So it's great to hear that even though Vince Valla is coming back out of taking a hiatus, that Rudy Russo is going to be a tough challenger there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rudy Russo and Moonshine Mantel at the time, this was back last summer, had their match, and they went out to the streets of Del Rio. They took it out to the streets in front of the theater.
Wow.
And, it was pretty nasty. We had to get security. The Del Rio Police Department were coming by to make sure everything was okay. It was pretty tough that night.
That was a war.
Yep.
What else you got?
And just on a side note, Rudy Russo, believe it or not, when I heard it, I was like, holy cow, this is some real stuff. Rudy Russo is heralded as the John Cena of Texas wrestling. He is that much of a fan favorite.
It's true.
Down there.
It's true. And that's why at times I really can't stand him because he has the kids and the ladies and the fellas, everybody chants his name and what have you, and you know, he's always smiling and carrying on, and you know, sometimes it gets to be a little much, Rudy Russo, but you know, I still think that you're going to retain your title this time, but all that smiley face stuff is getting a little annoying.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then the main event, you know, I had to dig deep. Like I said, we've had a long list of names that have come out there and main evented over in Del Rio, so I had to dig, and you know, I came up with a main event anywhere. I mean, this is actually you just may see it on Netflix or the El Rey Network soon. I don't know, but the main event is Castro Cortez against Mil Muertes from Lucha Underground.
Whoa! Stop the presses! Are you kidding me?
I just couldn't just have two of the big stars of Lucha Underground come out and who knows what will happen and all hell break loose. They forced me to bring in a special referee, their senior ref, Marty Elias, to come and control the action. I couldn't tell them no. I had no say so on that. I had to have their referee come out to officiate that match.
How were you able to get this match signed off on? Because I mean, these guys. Let's be honest here. You're talking about two of the most violent, two of the toughest, roughest characters in the business today. How did you sanction this match?
Guys, it just took a lot of phone calls and emails, and I can promise this, and we'll do that. We'll, and this really means a whole lot to this town, and the people from Lucha Underground said, okay. I'm just very fortunate to be able to do that, and I have a history where, I take care of the talent, and no matter what happens when the ring stuff, the talent is the number one concern. So I had to make a lot of promises and make sure that everything's on the up and up. And so Lucha Underground said, this is what we're doing, and okay.
Wow. And see that, folks, that's when we're talking about Rudy Boy Gonzalez over at Texas Wrestling Entertainment, the relationships that he has throughout the business, the fact that he was able to get two of the top stars from Lucha Underground, plus an enforcer and the referee there, Marty Elias. I mean, we're just talking about that's what happens when you have respect throughout the wrestling business. And just to switch up gears for a moment here, speaking of respect, your name has been buzzing all over the place lately. In fact, the guy that you had trained before, we're talking about WWE superstar Mr. The Bryan Kendrick. He was on Stone Cold Steve Austin's show, and he actually gave you a pretty good shot out there. And in fact, Austin followed that up by saying, yeah, that guy, Rudy Boy Gonzalez, I hear his name all over the place. What does it mean to you when you hear your former students who have gone on and achieved such great success, and even one of your peers who had such great success in Steve Austin, when they talk about you so glowingly, how does that feel?
I can't explain it, Duke. I can't, And when stuff like this happens, you're the first person I say, hey, hey, did you hear about this? Or let me, I'll shoot you a clip of something. Read this. I don't expect any of that. Bryan is I consider Bryan Kendrick probably I consider him my best friend in this business. And it's hard, I talked to several other trainers that where they've expressed they don't have the relationships with their ex-students, like I do. One guy was telling me his student, one of his ex-students who's now in WWE, buries him.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't get that. I don't know why you would bury the guy that enabled you to get to this business. And I didn't do anything special with these guys. I just shared some stuff with them, some knowledge, and helped them train and just helped them get to where they're at. And somebody will send me, hey, did you see this, or did you hear that, or did you? And no, I didn't. I didn't know anything about it. So I called up Bryan that next day, and I thanked him. I told him you don't have to do that. I know he's on the he was on the Stone Cold deal to talk about what he's doing and his WWE stuff and whatever. He doesn't have to bring up my name, but he does out of respect, and the respect is mutual. When a guy like Steve says, hey, I've heard that guy's name everywhere, that I sometimes wonder, is that good or is it bad?
No, it was positive, man. He made it a point to say it was positive.
Yeah. So, that's humbling. To be honest with you, that's very humbling.
That's deep. Tell us a Bryan Kendrick story. Since we got on the topic there, because folks know the Bryan Kendrick today. He's tearing it up in 205 Live, literally building a new promotion. He also trains people on the side there, which you helped him with his foundation and understanding how to wrestle the right way. I had heard something about him stomping you at one point.
Back in the day when I was doing Sean's school, the deal was that everybody had their first match against the trainer, against with me, and I was kind of like the measuring stick. So, and then after the match, Sean would pull me aside, hey, how do you do? And I'll tell you right now, Bryan Danielson blew me up sky high, but we'll talk about that some other time. So me and Bryan Kendrick are doing a match, and so we're going back and forth. We're doing our deal, and all this stuff, bam, 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 and then there was a point where he threw me in the corner, and I guess he expected me to come out of the corner, and he was waiting to do something, I guess. I don't know. And so I hit the corner, and I took a bump. I fell.
Uh-oh.
And, to kill some time, Bryan Kendrick was 20 years old, and I was, twice his age. So I'm trying to, take a breather somewhere. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just get this stomp right in the middle of my chest. And he stomped me so hard, he left his little footprints on my chest. And he goes, "You son of a," and he's like, boom, stomps me right in my chest. And I looked up like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" And all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden he just goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, coach. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry, coach. I'm sorry."
So basically, you were not following his lead in the ring, and you decided to potato you a little bit there to teach you a lesson. Is that what it is? Because he was, he was playing the veteran at that point.
But potato my ass. That was the whole state of Idaho. 10 matches under his belt, trying to dictate a match to me.
Unbelievable. But and it's funny too, because you brought up another name that was part of that original class that you had trained back when you were running Shawn Michaels' version of the Texas Wrestling Academy there. Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, he just had his first child.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for him. Very proud.
Shout out to Bryan Danielson and Brie Bella, his wife there. That's pretty cool. Tell us a Daniel Bryan story from the past, because, the fans, they know who he is today, the vegan, the guy who's going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, the underdog that overcame all the obstacles. What's a good behind-the-scenes story about Daniel Bryan?
When we made the decision to put Bryan in his first match, he did a match on a Saturday. It was kind of like one of those things where there was somebody missing and we need an extra guy. So, we put him in a match Saturday with me. He didn't do bad at all. So then Monday, me and Sean talked about it, and then we decided you're going to go on our TV show. So so Bryan was like, great. And we did shows every 2 weeks. So Bryan was like, great. I'm going to go on in 2 weeks. And Sean said, no, you're on tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he needed to get gear made. I mean, because we don't do the cargo shorts and Hot Topic type of stuff. So, I told him, you need some gear made now. And we didn't know anybody. I knew a guy in Matamoros, Mexico, which is like 5 hours from San Antonio, that can make stuff. And so I told Sean, I said, I know this guy in Matamoros, and we can go down there. He can have us measure him or whatever. And we might have to stay overnight, but, I think he can have his stuff done by tomorrow. So Sean said, we'll take him. So me and Bryan Danielson drive down there. And his name is Caesar. And so Caesar looks at him. We give him the idea of what we want done, have the dragon look and whatever. And we went through some pictures. And Bryan Danielson's gear is a combination of a bunch of different guys. And so Caesar says, okay, I can have it ready for him next week. I said, we need it like now.
Yeah.
He has TV tomorrow, so can you have it done by tomorrow? We'll stay tonight. And so Caesar said, well, come back in 6 hours. Give me about 6 hours. And it was by the time we got there, it was about 7 o'clock. So 6 hours, that's like 1 in the morning or so. So, and it's a big hassle driving back and forth across the border. They get suspicious and stuff. So I'm trying to think, where are we going to go for 6 hours in Matamoros, Mexico? So Bryan and Bryan Kendrick was the same way. Both guys were the same. They were 18, 19 years old, naive as all get out. They had no idea what was out there in the real world. I mean, they were just two young boys. They, 100% of their trust was with me and Sean. I mean, they were young boys. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I told Bryan, I'm like, all right, we got to kill some time. He goes, well, what are we going to do? I said, I don't know, I'll drive. So we drove to a men's establishment.
Uh-oh.
In Matamoros.
Yeah, the Boston bad boy just jumped up real quick here. Okay.
In Matamoros, Mexico, and the strip clubs there are nothing like the strip clubs here. Here we have regulations that you can't do this, you can't do that, and there it's a free for all. So, but again, so I told Bryan, look, we got to kill some time. I know you don't drink. They'll serve you sodas. I won't drink either. I'll drink sodas. Just don't touch nothing. Just sit there and listen to the music. We'll listen to the music. We'll just relax.
Put a couple of nickels in the jukebox and just hang out. Just hang out. No touching, no tasting, no telling.
So this is like a Monday night,
Oh.
and we go to a strip club, and
And they get the A game on the Monday night.
Of course.
It's the A crew in there on a Monday.
we're right. And so the place is packed except for two chairs at the front stage. And so we stood by the door for a minute, and I didn't want to sit there. And so the guy comes up, siéntase. He tells us, you got to sit down. Can't stand up. So I was like, shoot. So me and Bryan Danielson sit at the front stage, right in front of everybody, and the whole place is full of Mexicans, except for this one this
young,
one clean-shaven young boy.
Yeah.
Young boy.
Literally.
And you've heard of what they call babyface white meat?
Yep.
That was him.
Yep. White meat baby face. That's right. Yep.
Literally, that was him. And so every stripper in that building made it a point to give Bryan a lap dance.
Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
And for nothing, for not a dime. I'm sitting there like, what the hell? And I mean, some of the girls were decent. Some of the girls, it's Mexico. And
What are you trying to say, Rudy?
Yeah, right.
What do you,
silicone is wasn't sound very, just they never heard of it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it hasn't really made its way that far south
we've
yet.
just
I guess.
gone all the way down, folks. We just gone all the way down.
Now, is this area you guys were in sort of a rural area or more of an urban area?
Actually, it was right off the main strip, right off the main highway. You come off the bridge,
Yeah.
and you go past this big grocery store, and then you go down. Then there's the big street, Main Street.
Boy, he knows
Stop writing it down, Boston Bad Boy. He's writing down your directions.
Say, Rudy's got all the directions
Yeah,
here.
he's a GPS.
This allegation that he's only been there once, I don't know about that.
He
He's
knows
like, yeah, it's
exactly
down there.
where
You
it
take
is.
a left,
Yeah.
and it's right on the right. You go down another block.
Yep.
Yeah, and so
Unreal.
Here's the kicker. All these guys, there's about 50 guys in there, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't packed, but it was a decent little. They had a decent little house that night, and all these guys are sitting at their chairs with their beer, drinking and whistling and hooting and hollering and stuff. Bryan's sitting there quiet, mind his own business. I'm keeping low key as well. I'm the trainer. I'm the example guy, and all these girls are coming up to him, pulling his chair back, lap dancing, doing the best they can, and Bryan is looking, and I'm not lying to you, I'm not exaggerating, Bryan is looking straight ahead.
Of course he is. That is absolutely he is. I believe it.
Terrified.
Doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
No expression on his face, no smile, no frown, no grin. It
was all very clinical.
Nothing. He just has this, and every now and then elbow me, you okay? And he just look at me, yeah. And then just look straight ahead, and they're doing their deals, and then they they do their little strap thing on their tee back, whatever you want to call it, and he's like, I'm sorry, man. And he told one lady in English, I'm sorry, ma'am, I just don't have any money on me. And he said, yeah.
He go in his pocket and look for spare change to hang on, I might have a few quarters.
The first time that happened, he looked at me like, "What's she doing?" I said, "You want you to tip her now because you gave her the impression it was okay to do a lap dance." And he was like, "I didn't say anything. No, just tell him no. Just tell them no." And they come up to you, and he's like, "I'm not going to tell him that, Rudy. That's rude." Oh my God! So then I had to tell the girl no.
Paying up wasn't rude.
I know, yeah.
So then, when it happened again, and the girl moved her strap, he just looked at her and said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't have any money on me. Thank you, though."
I'm gonna try that next time I go to the bar, and the really good looking bartender say, "Oh, you know what? I didn't say no. I didn't want to drink, but thank you.
Yeah,
I don't have any money.
I don't have any money. If it worked for Bryan,
yeah, it worked for this really famous wealthy guy.
Oh my gosh, folks, we're talking. There's more.
Oh well, yeah. So we're there for 5 hours.
This all happened in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This happened. Yeah. So I had promised I'm not going to, in the beginning I said, we'll drink Cokes, we'll just drink sodas. I'm not going to drink. But after an hour and a half of that stuff, I was like, man, just give me a Miller Lite. Just give me whatever.
A champagne of beers.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were there for 5 hours. We go back to the guy. We go back to Caesar's house at 1 a.m, and his stuff's ready. And he was ready to go. And the funny thing was Caesar never measures you. He just looks you out. He just checks you out. He eyeballs you. And then says, okay, come back next week or whatever, and your stuff fits perfect.
Wow.
And so what you see Bryan wearing, the American Dragon gear he wore, that was all made by a guy named Caesar in Matamoros, Mexico. I don't know Caesar's last name, but he went as Aeroflash, and does a lot of good work. Does a lot of stuff for a lot of guys down there.
What a story. Shout out to Caesar, and shout out to our friends down there at the establishment.
Especially that poor stripper who never got her money.
I know.
mean, jeez, what a night she was going to have.
We're talking to Rudy Boy Gonzalez of the Texas Wrestling Entertainment. Let me switch gears now that we've gone all the way there. Oh, my goodness. I wasn't even expecting that. We've, Rudy, you're pretty active online, and I know one of the topics that continue to be brought up is younger wrestlers, especially not visiting the doctor on a regular basis, not getting themselves checked out, monitoring their injuries and what have you. There was a situation on your card where you had a match booked and unfortunately you had to pull it Can you give us some idea of what that was all about there?
Sure. I mean, and I'll be very frank and about it because a lot of stuff I do is based on reality, you know. And so there was a young man going online, running his mouth a bit. And one thing I can't stand are guys that brag about stuff or try and get themselves patted on the back when they've done nothing. So, you know, this kid went on there, and apparently there was a confrontation he had with Rodney Mack at a show somewhere. And so, and I understand Rodney Mack slapped him around a little bit. And let me tell you something, I don't even mess with Rodney. I've been in a dressing room where I've seen him upset, and I just mind my own business.
Yeah, Rodney Mack's a tough dude.
You know? Yeah. So apparently something happened in the dressing room where he slapped him around a little bit, whatever. Some guys would pull apart and so on. And so this kid starts going online talking about he wants a rematch. He wants to do this and he wants to do that. And I just said, hey, man, you need to learn to shut up. So long story short, our friend here, Duke, says, hey, give the kid a shot. He's a good kid. He's just trying to make it in the business. He's trying to make, and I'm like, yeah, but there's a way to, you know, there's a way to go about this stuff. There's a way not to go about it. And so, you know, in all, you know, trusting, and it's not a matter of trust. It's just, well, I guess it is a matter of trust. I went ahead and agreed to having this kid, Urban Legend, come down, and I told him, I'm not paying for your flight. I'm not paying for your bus fare. I'm not paying for your gas. If you want to work, then come on down, and I'll give you a match, and I'll see how you do. So he said, okay. So on Urban's part, he made the effort and made some arrangements, and he agreed to come down under those conditions. We never talked about money. We never talked about hotels. We never talked about nothing. He just wanted to come down. He just wanted an opportunity, and what more from a young man can you ask for than, you know, just all I want is a chance. That's all he asked for. So it's all right. So we agreed to that. Apparently what happened was he did a match with somebody somewhere else, and he got lit up. He got concussed. He got injured. And, you know, this is a huge lesson to a lot of guys. So Sunday morning he messaged me and says, hey, man, I got hurt last night. You know, I don't know, you know, what's going to happen. I got to go see a doctor. Or I may not go see a doctor. I don't know. I'm going to give a couple of days to see what happens. I'm bleeding from my nose, though. And when he said that, I've seen guys with concussions, and I've seen guys that have gotten popped. And, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've never heard of a guy bleeding from his nose. And I told him, go see a doctor. That's not good. Oh, you know, he said, it should clear up in a day or so, and, you know, we'll see what happens. So he called me again Monday, and he said, you know, it seems like it's not bleeding so much, so I'm going to give it another day or so and see what happens. And I told him, go see a doctor. So then Tuesday, I talked to him again, and he said it was actually, I think he said it actually got worse. And I was like, dude, you need to go get checked. And so he did, and thank God he did, because the doctor said it was pretty serious. He actually had some, I want to say he actually had some bleeding on his brain, and it was coming out through his nose.
Wow.
Or something like that. Yeah, it was pretty nasty. So so the doctors told him, you need to take some time off. And so he did. And at the same time, one of my guys down here took a clothesline, and he got lit up also. And so he was out for a couple of weeks with a concussion as well. So the guy here, I could monitor because he's here. The other, you know, Urban Legend, he's up in North Carolina somewhere, so all I could do was go by emails and text messages and what have you. And I just told him, just keep track, keep me monitored and keep track of what's going on or whatever. So the kid down here, he went and the same thing. He's ambitious. He wants to he wants to move up. He wants to be something in this business. So, he kept asking me, "Can I please start training? Can I please?" I said, "No, you got to get checked by the doctor. You got to get cleared." And so he did. He went. He gave me a slip that said, that he had to stay out of in-ring competition or contact, whatever, for 2 weeks, and the 2 weeks were up. And I said, okay. So I gave it to my people, that look over my stuff, whatever, and they said, there's nothing on this sheet of paper that says he's cleared. Go get him cleared. He needs to have a sheet of paper that says, so the doctor says, so-and-so is cleared to wrestle, whatever. So I made him go back to the doctor, and he got a paper, and he just told the doctor, hey, I just need to get cleared. So the doctor wrote him that paper, and he's cleared. So then I told Urban, I need, what, are you cleared to wrestle again? This was just last week. He said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I have a match tomorrow. And I said, okay, well, tell me how it goes. And so he did his match Saturday, and then Monday was when I got the other release from the kid here. So I told Urban, I said, you know what, can you send me a copy? And this is to cover my ass and to cover his ass. It's not just I'm not just thinking about myself. He said, well, I can't find it, whatever. And I told him, I can't have you come down here. I need something from a doctor that says you're cleared. And he couldn't produce it.
Wow.
And then when he went to see his doctor, I want to say the doctors told him, you really need to take like another couple of months off. So he told me, and I said, then take a couple of months off. There's no hurry. And so as much as I wanted him to come down and watch him perform or work or whatever you want to call it, I think about the guys first, man. The last thing I want is for a kid to have seizures and, whatever, and have problems later on in life because Rudy wanted to have him in a match. It's not even worth it.
This brings to mind, not to cut you off, but this brings to mind a couple of issues that we've talked about before. One, and you mentioned this early on when you were talking, this is totally Duke's fault because he helped talk you into this. So, number one, I want to get that out of the way. Number two, when we were talking to James Beard, I went off on a bit of a tangent about how a lot of these young guys do not want to listen to the veterans when they give advice. And they don't reach out when the veterans offer and say, hey, I'm here if you want to talk to me. A guy like James Beard and like yourself, Rudy, have always been very accessible to people who want to get into the business or are currently in the business. And if you're telling someone to go to the doctors because you've seen this kind of thing before, because you've done it forever, they need to just effing listen to you. And third, it brings me to something that I'm curious about, and I mentioned this to Duke earlier. There's been a slate of these injuries recently, even fatality in the ring with these young up-and-coming guys. Back in the day, it makes me wonder, back in the day, in the 80s, let's say, when the drug haze was rampant, I'm talking both prescribed and non-prescribed, and these guys were working 24 hours a day, heavy on the road, but they weren't dropping dead. Do you think is there a correlation there? How do you explain that, I guess? Or can you venture a guess as to why that is? If people are wrestling more clean now, what is it that's differentiating them from those guys that could do it when they were totally messed up?
That's a good question because I don't have the answer to that. The only thing I can think of is that, and it's been mentioned before, that today guys are pushing the envelope on the in-ring stuff. They're pushing the envelope more and more. Mm-hmm. And the only way, I don't know if I'm trying to explain this correctly, but the only way I can think of guys being able to do that is, and I'm not saying that anyone's doing anything illegal, of course not. I don't know if they are or not, but I do know a lot of kids, because I've seen it, they just go down those energy drinks like it's water.
Sure.
And as a matter of fact, I think the last time I was on here, we talked about the same thing, guys collapsing and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the very next week, a guy messaged me and said, hey, so-and-so was drinking and got drunk and had whatever before his match. And right after his match ended, he collapsed and he was dehydrated.
Yep.
and he didn't drink no water. And I was like, are you guys really that stupid? Who drinks and gets drunk before a match?
Well, it's amazing to me that these energy drinks, the caffeine-loaded whatever, are somehow more dangerous in the sport than cocaine and painkillers were in the late 70s, 80s. You know what I mean? And my theory is it has to go back to something you've talked about all the time, Rudy, which is training. That people are doing more aggressive moves, in worse shape, both physically because they're abusing their bodies with this crap, and also less shape in their training isn't up to par. The way they know how to do certain things to not injure themselves. So it's sort of compounded. Whereas just the old school style was to understand the sport and the whole dance better. And to avoid injury.
And not just lifting weights, but training your body the proper way to be a wrestler.
It's weird because, and I've been thinking, I joke about it, but then again, I'm not joking because a lot of stuff the guys are doing now is really, it's not wrestling anymore. It's more like high impact gymnastics, and
the speed is different.
Exactly, and their training is different. Well, the training is these gymnasts and these gymnastic kids and whatever. I mean, where we train at is a place where they do gymnastics, and this is where I got the idea from. Was I watch them, and the trainers there, they just drill. They start these kids off at 4 years old, and they drill these kids, and they're drilling them and drilling them and drilling them and drilling them, and then they drill them some more, and then they, some more, and on and on and on. And so these kids, and then when they do their routines at the end of the week or whatever, their bodies are adapted. They train for this specific routine or these specific moves or whatever. Meanwhile, now you go to wrestling, and a lot of these guys, don't train at all. They just show up on Saturdays or Fridays or Sundays, and then they expect to be able to perform and do all these cool moves and what have you. And since they don't train, they figure to make up for the time of not training and to get that adrenaline going and that, that rush. And, they start to go up and down these energy drinks and these pre-workout deals, and that doesn't work. I mean, you can look at it. You can look at a guy like Ricochet and the Osprey kid, Will Ospreay, lean guys, but those guys are in unbelievable shape.
Yeah, they're constantly training. Yeah.
Oh, and exactly. You can tell.
Yeah.
They're like, I mean, they're unbelievable. You see Ricochet going through his stuff or whatever, and if you ever try slowing that stuff down and watching, look at his body. You can see you can see his whole body working at doing the flips and doing the moves or whatever it is that it's like, I hate this word, but it's like a work of art that he's doing, and I totally, completely respect that. I have a lot of admiration for that kid. Meanwhile, now you see Joe Blow, who just ate a cheeseburger at McDonald's on the way to the show.
He's trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, and then you see the results Monday afternoon or Monday morning where a kid splatters himself on the side of the ring, or another kid sits on somebody else's face, and there you have it. It's just unreal, and it's just, again, it all goes to the training. And when you train for this specifically, when you train properly, you know what to take, you know what to not eat, you know what to, what you need to drink is water. You need to stretch. Some guys don't even understand that part about the stretching. That's like being in shape 101.
I think it's interesting. Like back in the day, right? I think of like Pumping Iron, the Arnold Schwarzenegger. There was this sort of cult around the training part, whether you were a weightlifter or whatever. And I think a lot, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rudy, that a lot of the old school wrestlers were sort of gym rats. They loved the training almost more than they loved the performing part of it. That training was where they went and they just worked through their day, and that sort of love of that end of it. That's now more like work than it is the bonus part.
There were guys that I broke when I broke in. There were guys that offered to help me. That like I'll say the Manny Fernandez, who would do their show, do the shows or whatever at night, and then afterwards they'd travel back to San Antonio or have a little nightlife, whatever. But at 10 o'clock in the morning, they were in the gym, they were in the ring,
Right.
or at the local gym working out, getting a quick workout, what have you. But I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say that these guys were angels, because they weren't.
No.
But they knew what they have to do to prevent stuff. Like I never once ever heard of Manny or Chavo or Tully or any of these guys collapsing in the ring or having headaches in the ring or passing out, or
Before they're 30 years old. Some of these guys are not even 30 years old, and they're falling out like that.
There were guys when I was breaking in. There was guys like Luthez had a match at 60. I mean, the careers were longer. The guy and a lot of it, plain and simple. Sure, they did their they did the kills and whatever. Some of these guys did whatever they did, but as far as being in shape, they were there. They trained when they had to. They knew they had to, and they took care of themselves. And you just never heard about this stuff. Now it's almost like on Monday morning, I go online to see who did what.
That's scary.
And that's not a good thing.
That's scary.
Okay, who passed out this week? Who what? Who busted? Who broke their neck? At the show Saturday night. Who? Stuff like that.
That's scary, guys. I mean, listen to Rudy Boy Gonzalez. You really need to get serious about your training and take it easy. Get some rest. Lay off the energy drinks. Get more sleep, more water in your system. I mean, come on.
Well,
Smart
here's
enough.
the thing. If you want to be a pro wrestler, 95% of your life is going to be training and working out.
That's it.
So if you're not ready to do it now, when are you going to be ready to do it? Because the drinks and that ragtag style is not going to carry you into a professional world. It's like any other profession. If you're out there messing around and you show up to work hungover every day, it's going to catch up to you.
Good luck.
Exactly.
Yeah, good luck. Rudy, tell the fans once again, this Saturday, June 10th, give us the information. How can they get tickets? Where's it going to be? Bell time, all that good stuff.
Tickets are on sale right now. Pre-sale tickets are available at the Paul Paul Theater right there in Del Rio, downtown. It's a very nice venue. Or at the Casa de la Culturas Center, which is, every time we do this Del Rio, Texas, we always donate money to this organization, and we donated quite a bit of money for them. We help them out quite a bit. They help out with the Hispanic scholarships and stuff like that out in that area. VIP tickets, which are seats on the actual stage of the theater, are $20. And what that does is that gets you in the door at 6:30. You do a meet and greet. You get to meet Mil Muertes, Castro Cortez, Marty Elias, all the other stars of TWE. Military are free. Kids are $5. And then those tickets are on sale until tomorrow evening. And then the day of the event, VIP goes up to $25, which is still inexpensive. Adult tickets are $15, and then kids tickets are $7. Military is still free.
Wow. And what's this I'm hearing about a special open training for aspiring wrestlers on Sunday? Do you want to put that out there?
Yeah, that's going to be with Marty Elias. It's for everybody, but the focus is on referees, and you don't really see a lot of these, like Danny Cage does these clinics and these seminars and what have you, and I've done a few for wrestlers, and that's all great, but there's also referees, and I'll sit back and I'll watch guys, even my own guys. I refereed for a few years for Joe Blanchard, so I have a little bit of knowledge on count to 1, 2, 3, but there's just so much more involved in being a good referee. And so Marty Elias, who actually was a referee for World Wrestling Entertainment, if you go back to the Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker match, I think that was WrestleMania 25, Marty was the guy. And actually he was specially picked by Shawn and Undertaker to do that match.
Wow.
From what I understand. So I mean, Marty knows his stuff. He's a good friend of mine, and he's we talked about this since I'm down there. What do you think about doing this? And I thought, hey, that's a great idea, because there's a lot of shows that I go to where the referee is just lost.
Yeah, I bet.
And,
so where is this going to be? I want to make sure that folks don't miss this part.
Yeah, so that's going to be from 12 to 3 at the Texas Wrestling Academy, 1334 South Flores. It's $30 a person, and if Marty's place is going to leave till later on the afternoon, till 7 or 8 or something like that. So if it takes a little bit longer than until 3 o'clock, so be it. But Marty's going to be teaching guys the finer points of being a good referee.
Wow. So, folks, you hear that right there from Rudy Boy Gonzalez. First of all, come down Saturday, June 10th. You got to check out the big event, Texas Wrestling Academy. They got a huge main event going on, and you also get a chance to see Micah Madrid get her head shaved because she's going to lose her match. And then the next day, you got to go to Marty Elias' training at the Texas Wrestling Academy and learn how to become a referee. Or if you just want to learn some more information about the ins and outs of pro wrestling from the perspective of a referee, definitely want to check that out as well. Rudy Boy Gonzalez, thank you for joining us, El Presidente.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure to spend a few minutes with y'all and chit chat.
It's always cool to have Rudy Boy Gonzalez on the show, huh?
Yeah, and there's more to be discussed. I stumped him on that question about the training, and I think, but it's something he's been leading on about all the time, is that the training. I think there's a lot of people trying to be wrestlers. I think the whole reality TV show aspect of it has opened up to all these people who think they can do it.
But they want to cut corners.
Yeah, well, they don't understand. Like I said, they don't understand that when you're working in that field, if you're going to do it, 90% of the shows are a very small portion of what you do. I mean, if you're at the WWE, let's say you're filming promos or whatever, or you're doing talk show type stuff, whatever. But it's still a small percentage of your day, and the rest of it's going to be you've got to work.
You got to work on your craft. Man, Ric Flair partied harder than anybody in this business, but he was in that gym the next morning. You better believe it.
Like you've got to figure out how to do that.
Yep.
Like how do you do that? Like that's why the guy's a legend.
And what was
he
Ric
figured
Flair
out how
doing?
to do it.
He wasn't just pumping weights to look like he has some big muscles. No. The man was working on his cardio. He was doing Hindu squats. He was doing back bridges.
There are I would think specialty workout routines.
Yes.
Because you're doing things that people aren't doing in their day-to-day life. You're lifting weight over your head in strange ways.
And throwing it down.
You're landing strange.
Yep.
You're whatever. You're taking moves, you're trying to react. So
and you got to be trained for that.
Right. Think of it, for instance, Formula One racers, and actually specifically like IndyCar racers who race on a oval track.
Yep.
They have to do special exercises because their neck muscles get strained from the G-force. Now, I wouldn't think about it. If I was, I'm going to drive a race car, it'd be great. You don't think that I'm not going to be able to hold my head straight because I'm going too fast around a corner. They have to know that. They have to work on that. And if they don't, you don't hold your head straight up while you're trying to drive a car at 200 miles an hour.
Jesus.
So that's a direct comparison to what wrestling is. There are things that they're doing that going to the gym and bopping around and drinking an energy drink aren't going to help you with.
It's going to put you in the hospital, like what's happening to a lot of these guys.
And it's bad because a lot of these guys have potential.
Yeah. And they're young.
It's very easy to. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
To again, concussions and things are cumulative. If you start that early, how are you going to have a career and be wrestling into your 60s?
Who wants you? Who's going to pay you after
no one's going to take that liability, unfortunately.
Give me a break. Folks, up next, we have more of your listener-submitted questions, a.k.a. Ask Duke. But before we get to any of that, you know what time it is, okay? If it's breakfast, if it's lunch, even if it's dinner, it's time for Barnyard Cheese. That's right, Barnyard Cheese over in New York City. Listen, they have the award-winning wit. Remember that sandwich, Boston Bad Boy?
Refresh my memory, would you?
This is the one that won the Travel Channel award for being the best breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? You know, 2 eggs, roast beef, bacon, cheddar cheese, jalapenos, poblano home fries, cilantro, Malone salt, and super schooly salsa.
Well, you know, I just had an amazing idea, which is I'm going to leave this show.
Yeah.
And I'm going to open a Barnyard Cheese franchise here in the city.
Oh.
And then all day, I get not only do I have to not look at you, I get to, have my sandwiches whenever I want them.
Well, you'll have the Duke sandwich be your
No,
top
the
selling
Duke sandwich will not be allowed on this particular franchisee's
I don't think you can do that.
menu. No,
I
I'm going
don't
to have
think you
a
can do
work
that.
with the talk with Big D there.
No,
and,
no, Double D, Dave Davis. Don't listen to this guy.
No,
please.
we're
This is
going to have a little
ridiculous.
chat on the side.
Whatever.
I'm going to have a backroom channel. That's a very popular thing these days.
Backroom
We're going to have a backroom channel to Double D, and
I'm
I'm
going
going
to
to
write
get
some
that taken
notes
care
on
of.
this. Stop depriving yourself of deliciousness. Visit barnyardcheese.com for more info. Enjoy.
This is Scoot Andrews, the Black Nature Boy, and you're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
Shout out to Scoot Andrews. Good man there. Good man. What do you have for Ask Duke there, Boston bad
Well,
boy?
we've got I got a couple of questions here, I think. And,
yeah?
I always like to sort through them a little bit just because, you never know. With the cast of characters who submit stuff to the show, there's a lot of heavy edit. A lot of talk about copious notes.
Huh.
A lot of crazy people listen to the show. I'm just going to throw that out
Don't
there.
disrespect the listeners, please.
Well, it
Jeez.
is what it is.
Stop it. Shout out to the listeners.
If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have to sit through this show. Have you ever thought of that? Have you thought of my struggle?
You should thank them.
If nobody was listening to the show, we wouldn't have to do it.
You should thank them.
Oh, boy. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so our first question is from Rashad Smith.
Shout out to Rashad. Good man. Good man.
And he asks, what did you think of Lana's big pop on SmackDown, and do you think she has a chance to win at Money in the Bank?
All right. I understand that Rashad Smith is a big Lana fan, and I get it.
Let me guess, you're not.
Well, no, I don't. I think Lana's very talented and nice and all that good stuff. But let's be honest here. She's not much of a wrestler. She just really learned how to wrestle recently. She's been off of TV for a while, at least WWE main TV. So the idea that just because she got a big pop, well, she got a big pop because she's an attractive lady. Let's just get that out of the way here.
That sounds incredibly sexist.
It's the truth.
It
It's the
sounds
truth.
incredibly
It's the
sexist that
truth.
you would even, with
It's the
all the
truth.
females who listen to the show, you
Well,
just gave a shout out to the listeners.
Well,
and then we have a big female.
let me finish here. It's the truth.
Yeah, well, you
It's the
better
truth.
walk. You're walking a thin line, my friend.
She's out there against Charlotte, Becky Lynch, who I don't like, Natty. You have Tamina Snuka. You even have the SmackDown Women's Champion out there, Naomi. Those are wrestlers, by the way. Oh, and also Carmella, who's a local girl. Those are wrestlers, okay? And then you got this dancer, the pretty face, coming out there, sashaying all over the place, and the fans are popping. Of course they're going to pop for the pretty girl who dances. So what?
You know what it is?
So what?
People
Okay.
don't pop for you because you're not pretty enough. That's what this
Give me- well,
That's what
that
this
could
is
be it.
about, isn't it?
That could be it.
But it's incredibly sexist that you're saying that it's
Give me
her
a
looks
break.
alone that
No.
are making this, making her pop.
I'm just
and
saying-
just because she learned recently.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, that means that she's not on their level. She has no business even being in a Money in the Bank
listen,
match.
there's
How about that?
there is experience, but listen, some people are good. Some
Look,
people have talent.
Look,
I mean,
she
not
has
you,
no
but
chance.
some people do.
She has no chance. It's nice that she got the pretty girl and she dances on.
No,
she has no
pretty girl.
chance
Say
against
it
those
again.
top-notch wrestlers in the ring against her. Forget about it. I'm sorry, Rashad. I expected a better question out of you, by the way.
Wow. So now you're insulting the listener because you didn't like the question. Is that it? But when I see, no, it's at different standards here. No, I get it. What's good for the goose is not good for the
Give me a
gander in
break.
this case.
He shouldn't have brought her up in the first place.
Well, we're going to come back to this.
I
Don't you
don't
worry
think
about it.
We're not coming back to that. I set the gavel down on that one, Jack.
The next question here, which I think I'm going to skip, but it comes from a visionary, R.J. Krasinski. He's like me. He's very well. He's well spoken.
I'm starting to think R.J. Krasinski is you because there's something funny.
Really?
The listeners have been asking if you're the same person, and I'm starting to think.
Listen to me. The fact that there could be something where I am my own person and I'm also devoting time to become R.J. Krasinski as a fake person, that's the kind of insane, obsessive behavior that creates someone like Dingo.
Well, Dingo thinks that you're the same people, just so you know.
I've been really harsh on Dingo. I've come to I'm doing a lot of thinking about Dingo.
Oh.
I didn't even like to say his name, but I turned a corner and I realized something. Dingo is in love with me.
You got to be kidding
No,
me.
Listen to me. And who am I?
You got to be kidding
Who am
me
I
right
to
now.
stand in the way of true love? Now, I don't reciprocate it, but I am flattered. And you know what it is? It's like don't stand so close to. It's like that Police song. Every breath you take. It's an obsessive kind of love.
Oh my goodness!
It's a sometimes disturbing kind of love, but it's love. And you know what? From now on, I don't think I have any problem because love is love, man, and we need more love in the world. And if Dingo loves me, you know what? More power to him. I'm glad he's able to express himself and he's comfortable doing it.
That's enough.
So
that's enough.
I just no. That's right. That's all
enough.
I wanted to say about it.
You're being weird right now.
You're being
weird.
I'm just saying he's expressing himself, and I'm all for that.
I'm
and
sure
I think
that's not what's going on.
I'm so glad he found somebody to love. And if it's me, if I can be that person from afar, please, from very far away. But I just think that he should just let it out, and he should just, he should let his freak flag fly.
That's enough. That's enough. I'm sorry, Dingo. Well,
don't apologize to Dingo on this show.
Dingo. You just didn't have to be weird about that stuff there, man.
Well, I'm gonna, you're being a little weird because you're incredibly sexist comments about Lana. Which brings me back to what Rashad asked a few minutes ago.
We already did that.
But
move on.
I want to know why Lana. I want to dig deeper. And why wouldn't Lana be taken seriously as a challenger to Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Champion?
Because Lana, I mean, she literally just learned how to take bumps properly. She's been a valet this whole time for Rusev. I'm sorry, but she's going to have to put in a lot more time and gain a lot more experience before she should be getting any kind of title shot.
Here's the thing.
Give me a break.
We've had people come and go from the WWE that have varying levels of experience that got title shots that they never should have gotten in a million years.
Okay.
And probably didn't have the necessary training.
So what?
So the point is that Lana, as you know, if we step back a few years, was incredibly popular. As almost anyone in the company, she's running wild with Rusev.
So what?
And so what happens? Her popularity goes up a little bit because she's with a guy. His popularity is going up. Her popularity is going up. She is attractive. She's good on TV.
Oh, you admit it, huh?
Listen, saying someone is attractive is different than saying they're only successful because they're attractive. Try and keep up here. So what happens? As her star begins to rise a little, again, the pattern starts to emerge. What does Vince do? His first move is to split her up from Rusev.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. He's going to go there, folks.
This is how the storyline plays out. He splits her up from Rusev, only to pair her with the likes of
Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler is a great wrestler in his own right.
How did that go? How did that go? How did the fans react to that pairing?
It wasn't the best mixture.
Well, fill me in a little bit. Paint a little bit of a picture here for me.
The fans literally deadpanned the whole thing and stopped cheering for the whole situation.
It kind of reminds me of when The Undertaker went out, and the next day your buddy, they weren't buying it.
Yeah.
Got booed out of the ring.
Okay.
Got booed out of the ring because the fans weren't buying it. It was bad business. But, again, Vince is the all-knowing, isn't he? He stuck with it. He sticks with it. He sticks with a guy like Roman Reigns in his bad shtick that isn't working, that the fans don't like.
Sure.
And he stuck with keeping Lana with Ziggler. And so what he didn't understand, because he blurs these lines all the time with reality TV and with bringing people's real-life problems, including mental illness, into the television world.
Here we go again.
He didn't want to acknowledge that even though he made a change in the script on TV, that Lana and Rusev are still actually together in real life.
Yeah, they're a real couple.
They're a real couple.
Yeah, yeah.
Love and we'll go back. Love. They're full of love. These two people have real human emotions, like I think Dingo has developed. Finally, for the first time in his life, he has a human emotion.
Just stop it with Dingo,
You should be happy. I'm happy. I'm full of joy.
This is weird.
This is me full of joy.
No, stop it.
So, in real life, recently, Rusev pops the question.
Okay.
Now, what happens then? She posts on Instagram, my boyfriend, fiance, is now my fiance. Pop the question. As any woman or man, not any, but most people do on your social media.
She kind of went into business for herself in that situation because, technically speaking, she was in the middle of a serious storyline. And she had no. Hold on a second. She had no business doing that.
How is she supposed to know? Because last I checked, the other real couple had a proposal in the middle of effing WrestleMania.
All right. Well,
so that was okay to do it in WrestleMania.
That's different.
She steps out and has a real life moment. And what does Vince do?
Took her off of TV.
That's right.
Well, he should have.
Crazy
Vince. She ruined the
storyline.
storyline. They invested so much time and effort and money into pairing Ziggler and Lana together, and she ruined it.
Brother, and have I got a lot of material
to crack on tonight.
So let me tell you this about
Oh,
that.
my Buddha.
Because that's my official intro from the man, okay? Vince has blurred reality and unreality so far that he can't make heads or tails of it. Sometimes he wants your real life to be involved because it might help him make some more money. Sometimes he'll invade your privacy. Sometimes he'll lock you into a contract so that you can't go and get out of his company and make a life for your family. He'll put you on to the side and just embarrass you to your career runs its natural course. Sometimes a woman can't be happy that she's got engaged and throws it out there. Does he think wrestling fans don't understand it? I know that it's still real to a lot of people.
Of course.
Okay?
Still real to me.
But the fact that it's real doesn't take away the fact that people know that these people have real lives. When Vince McMahon's limo blew up, no one expected his charred husk to be dropped into the office the next day. He came walking in like every other day.
Oh, my. Why are you bringing
Because
that
it's a
up?
direct it's stupid. Let her have her social media. What did that affect him at all? Did people really believe that her and Dolph Ziggler were together? No, they never believed.
Well,
it was
maybe somebody did.
It was a weak storyline to begin with. He knows it's a weak storyline. He doubled down on it, and now he's taking it out. His frustration, he's taking it out on her by knocking her to the side like he's done with everybody else.
She got back. They had to put those two back together.
Yeah.
Now, and then she had to take some more time off. But now she's back on TV.
Yeah.
But look, she's not a real competitor. We know
How's she going to get a chance? How's she going to get a chance to be a real competitor? She's been kicked in the face before she even had a chance to develop. Now that she's learned how to wrestle, she has no shot on it. Typical Vince. It's unbelievable.
I got to wrap this guy up, folks, because he has no idea what he's doing right now.
No, I know
talking
exactly
about
what I'm
Vince
talking
McMahon
about.
like that. Thank you to Rudy Boy Gonzalez for joining us this week.
Never mind your
head over to
sexist
Facebook,
comments.
head over to Twitter, type in Duke Loves Rasslin. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, you got to get out of here.
She's
You've
a
been
terrible
grip
wrestler.